Welcome back. If you follow my channel, you'll know that I bought a 2017 Hyundai Santa Fe Sport last year in October. And it's now August, so it'll be a year in October. And I bought this one used. It was 3 years old and 30,000 miles exactly on the odometer when I bought it. And I'll talk a lot about what I love about it, what I don't love about it, what to look out for if you're buying one, and what options this particular one has in particular. So let's get started. This is the Santa Fe Sport, which has the 2.4 liter Theta 2 motor and the 6-speed automatic transmission. With the Santa Fe series, you get one transmission for this generation, and that was the 6-speed auto. But you had a choice of actually 3 engines to choose from. You had the Theta 2 2.4, and you had I believe a 2 liter turbocharged. I forget which generation motor that is. It could be a Theta, not sure. And there was a V6 option on the full-size Santa Fe. Santa Fe Sport is the shorter 2-row version. The Theta 2 engine was the biggest weakness of this particular generation Santa Fe, and Hyundai has been they have been sued over these engines. They have a high failure rate of the crank bearings, and that's their biggest weakness. A high failure rate of bearings. That's a big problem, which usually requires at least the short block or the main engine block to be replaced. Hyundai has extended the warranty to 120,000 miles on these, and there's currently a class action lawsuit pushing for a lifetime replacement warranty on these engines for that defect. I'm not too worried about it myself. I won't have the car that long. I mean, I'm going to keep it maybe for about 100,000 miles tops, so I'm not too concerned about that at all. Surely it affects resale value, but I mean, I don't buy cars strictly because of what they might be worth down the road. I like the vehicle overall, this engine aside. In fact, the engine is quite torquey for its size, and it has not been, it has not been an issue for me. Now, this is the fully decked out version. It has the panoramic sunroof and the power liftgate. Don't mind the boxes. I'm actually helping my parents move, so that's why the car's full of boxes. This also has the leather package. These rear seats do recline, and I believe they recline also on the cloth interior models. Something got on there. Whoops. They're perforated, heated rear leather seats, and yes, it all works as intended. It also has the optional sun visors. These are the pull-up sun visors on both sides and the rear. And there's your heated seat control. 2-position, high or low. The front seats on this trim. Now, a little word about trim levels in the Santa Fe's. There really are no trim levels. You've got your base Santa Fe Sport, which has cloth interior, air conditioning, power windows, power door locks. Actually, they're pretty well equipped, even in their basic form. But what Hyundai did is they offered them with packages and different options added to the base model. What we have here is basically a base model with everything checked off. Now, when you get into the turbocharged model, the 2 liter turbo Santa Fe Sport, that is, I believe those include all the options that this one has, plus the turbocharged engine. So that was the ultimate package. So it's kind of confusing how Hyundai markets their vehicles these days. It's not like an SC or an SL or they don't do that with this model for some reason. But anyway, so this one, it has the heated and cooled leather seats. It has the panoramic sunroof. It has the HomeLink mirror, the built-in navigation system. It has one cool option that I love about it, and that is the panoramic camera. And that shows you a nice all-around view of the vehicle. And this view right here is our 360-degree view. And how they pull this off, for those of you who don't know, there's a mirror, there's a camera under each mirror, and there's a camera in the front and the back, of course, and that's how they pull that off. And it's all, the images are stitched together with software, and you get your 360-degree view. It also has this feature, and I think this is standard on all Santa Fe's. If you have the mirror adjustment to left or right, and you put the car in reverse, it tilts the mirrors back for you to show you the ground level. You can turn that off by putting it in the middle position. So that's kind of cool. This one also has the heated steering wheel, and it is an all-wheel drive version. So let's talk a little bit about what I don't like about it. We'll get that out of the way. What I don't like, I'm not a big fan of perforated leather interior because it's hard to clean. So there's one check in that box. I do not like the soft touch materials that they used. Basically, what they do is they take your basic ABS plastic trim panels, and they spray them with a rubberized coating. And it looks good, it feels good when the car is brand new and you're test driving it for the first time, but as the vehicle gets older, this stuff can scrape off, it can wear off, and it develops shiny spots because the areas where you commonly touch, the stuff can wear off. I'm not there yet, but I assure you, if I make this video at 120,000 miles, we'll be having a very different conversation. What I do love about the interior is Hyundai's use of padded vinyl and molded padded materials for the dashboard. This is really the only hard plastic in the car, on the top of the dash, but the rest of it is a soft touch, not soft touch, it's a molded padding with a vinyl skin kind of vacuum sealed to it. It's kind of a nice touch. I love the artificial burl walnut trim. I think it adds a nice look to the car. So the list of options on this car is a mile long. It also, so with the navigation system, it has the Infinity sound system. It sounds crystal clear, it sounds nice, but it doesn't blast you out of the car. I've heard some factory sound systems that even without a subwoofer, they just sound rich and vibrant. The Infinity sound system in this car it has tweeters in the A-pillars. It has speakers in all four doors. There's a subwoofer in the back, and I believe there's a speaker right there in the middle. But it doesn't have that kick that I was hoping for. But it sounds great. Don't get me wrong. It's very, very nice sounding. The AV system, the infotainment system, it works great. It does have software bugs, mostly related to the CarPlay system and Bluetooth. What I'm finding is that sometimes it doesn't turn on until if I have it shut off, it won't turn back on again until I press I have to press the radio button to get it back on again. That's clearly a software bug that made it through the factory, and they all probably have this problem, but you press the power button, it does nothing. Right now it's on. I have to hold it down to shut it off, but sometimes it just doesn't, it won't engage the it's really weird. And that's one of the biggest software glitches I found with this particular sound system. Now, all things being equal, I believe all infotainment systems have software glitches in them. It's just the nature of the game. There's a lot going on, and they rush these suckers out the door. So, to try to push vehicles off the production line, they have to rush these systems into production, and so they're not done by perfectionists, as far as I know. What else don't I like about this car? Because people want to hear about. They want to hear, what do you hate about your car? And will that affect my decision to buy one? You know, the Theta 2 engine is not something that I don't like about the car, and ironically, that is one of its only drawbacks. The Theta 2 motor in this car was used in the Sonata, and it was used in a couple of different products that they had it in globally. And the issues that affect the Theta 2 are bearing failures, usually in the lower mile range, you know, between 0 and 100,000 miles. Basically the factory warranty period, to be honest. And it affects the earlier production years more often than the later ones. Now that could be basically a result of the older production model years already having higher miles. Who knows? But allegedly Hyundai has made running changes to this engine. Now 2018 is, as far as I know, the last year for the Theta 2 in the Santa Fe. I'm not positive on that. I should probably do my research, but I did not do that. 2017 is towards the end of that production run, so it should probably have the it shouldn't fail. Now the first thing the casual viewer is going to say is, well, why don't you just change your oil on time, dummy? Well, it has nothing to do with oil changes. It certainly is a factor, though. If you're one of those people who stretches your oil changes to the 10,000 mile mark because synthetic oil, you're probably going to have a problem. And I say that because, you know, while the oil may still have lubrication, or it may still lubricate well enough for, you know, maybe a Toyota Camry engine, you know, it's still got contaminants that the filter didn't get. You know, there's still contaminants, and it's not as fresh. The additive packages in the oil aren't as effective as they were 10,000 miles prior. You know, so if you're one of those people and you really want to push your oil changes, don't buy this car. You will have a problem. That having been said, Hyundai did in fact extend the I believe the short block warranty to 120 grand. So, yeah, look, everybody's got problems. You know, Toyota's got their problems, Mazda's got their problems, Honda's got their problems. It's either a transmission issue, an engine problem, it could be electrical, it could be, I mean, if you're shopping for a Volkswagen, if you're cross-shopping this between a Volkswagen Tiguan, you know, you should have fairly low expectations of reliability anyway. So that's all I'm going to say. I know people that have Tiguans, so I talked to them at length about their cars. In this particular class, the mid-sized front-wheel drive car-based SUV, you do have choices. And the Mazda CX-9, I believe, is a direct competitor to the Santa Fe XL, or the full-size Santa Fe. I don't think Mazda has an equivalent for this because their next smallest SUV is the CX-5, which is more of a competitor to the Hyundai Tucson. Let's see, you've got the Toyota RAV4, which is smaller than this. This is actually probably close to the Highlander in size. So yeah, if you're looking at a Highlander, a Tiguan, a Santa Fe, you got choices. You know, CX-5. What else is out there? The Mitsubishi Outlander. You know, it's a pretty well-rounded class of vehicle. So you have choices. But with the Santa Fe, the one thing that you're probably going to have to deal with if you buy the 4-cylinder is the damn Theta 2 motor. And I don't want to harp on that issue too much because a vehicle should not be designed or defined by one attribute or one problem, you know. Now, if this particular vehicle had issues with rust, engine failures, transmission failures, and we'd probably be like, yeah, don't buy the Santa Fe Sport because it's a piece of crap. So not to beat on a dead horse, how's the rest of the car? I mean, everything works as it's supposed to. This has the 8-way power seat, or is it 8 or 10? I don't know how many ways. But it has a memory effect, a memory system here. You can set your seat position for 2 different drivers, and it remembers everything down to the mirror placement. No, I'm serious. It'll actually remember where the freaking mirrors are. It's so technologically interconnected, it's crazy. And you might be thinking, well, the more toys, bells, whistles, and features, the more problems you're going to have. And that is a true statement. Because let me talk about some other stuff that could possibly go wrong. This car has probably 50,000 miles of wiring underneath the pretty panels and dashboard and such. That's carrying data information about mirror position, seat position. It's carrying power. It's carrying sensor data. It's just, there's so much going on in this car. There's a lot that can go wrong. And we'll start with the sunroof. I mean, one of the reasons I bought this car actually was because of the sunroof. I wanted a damn sunroof, okay? Ever since I had my first car, which had a sunroof in it, I've always wanted to buy another car with a sunroof. Well, that opportunity came, and I'm like, you know what, I'll take it. But these sunroofs, regardless of what vehicle they're installed in, they have a tendency to shatter at random. No, really. So if you're not a big fan of having glass showering over your head, don't buy one with a sunroof. These do have a tendency to shatter, and it could be to internal stresses within the glass that have been there since it was manufactured that just didn't sort of get detected, or something falls from the sky like a meteor or an acorn or a ball of ice from a tree during the winter. These can shatter, and that's kind of scary and terrifying. The other thing that can happen is they tend to leak over time as they get older. The seals will fail and they'll leak. But I knew that buying the car. I didn't care. I mean, I wanted a goddamn sunroof, so I got a goddamn sunroof. But there's one problem I wasn't really thinking about when I bought this car. See, I planned on putting crossbars on this roof so I could put my kayak and canoe and shit on it. Well, that is an option. It actually has the rails from the factory. You just need to buy the crossbars. But the deal with that is, well, what if I'm loading the kayak or the canoe and it slips off and hits the glass? Well, then what? Then what do I do? Well, I guess I'll be riding home with a towel on my seat because I have glass all over it, So, yeah, I mean, there's, when you're buying a car, there's a lot of things you got to think about, like how will this particular feature affect me negatively? The other thing is, we're getting back to failure of ridiculously optioned cars and other components. Look at that. It's so cool. That's so cool. But when one morning it was actually late winter, early spring, like before spring, and it was starting to warm up a little bit, and the sun was from this side, it was going this way. And so this side of the car was kind of warm. I got into the car and I turned the car and put it in reverse, and I noticed that one of my cameras wasn't working. This one. The driver's side camera came up as a blue, like no signal kind of blue, like, sorry, your camera doesn't work, so here's a nice pretty blue color. So that happened, and I knew right off that, okay, well, I've got a bad camera. But then it went away. So it took me 2 months, maybe 3 months of going back and forth to the dealership trying to get it fixed. And that kind of aggravated the shit out of me because I knew what was wrong with the car. The camera's bad, replace it. Simple as that. But the dealer, who gets paid on warranty work by proving there's a problem, they wouldn't replace. So here, let me backtrack. I'm jumping around here. So what was happening was the camera would fail when the sun was baking that side of the car. And then as soon as it cooled off, as soon as you got underway, it would start working again. So you'd be parked in a parking lot like this one right here. The sun is baking on the car. Camera heats up. Doesn't work. You're like, great. I can bring it to the dealer and they can diagnose it and fix it, replace it, whatever. But as soon as I get to the freaking dealer, the camera works. Dealer service guy comes in and says, yeah, the camera works. What do you want me to do? I'm like, here's a picture, here's a video on my phone of the problem occurring. Sorry, that's not good enough. And this is a guy, by the way, that I have been dealing with for 10 years. And he's never given me a problem. Never. So I don't blame him. I mean, he's always been good to me. I tell him my transmission is bad in my 2010 Elantra, and he'd replace it, no question. So, you know, I don't think it was him. I think it was just the manufacturer tells the dealership that in order to be reimbursed for warranty work, they have to have a technician personally verify the problem exists. Until we had a heat wave. We had a heat wave in July. And I'm like, great. I'm going to get this to fail, and they're going to fix it. And guess what? They did. They put a new camera in. I was happy. I'm still happy. Everybody happy. That took forever.
Senor, choose another donut. How can I help you?
Yes, I'd like a medium iced decaf with 3 milk, 2 sweet and low.
With 3 milk and 3 sweet and low?
2 sweet and low.
2 sweet and low. Anything else?
I'll take a maple frosted donut.
Let me just double check on that real quick.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else?
That's it.
First window, please.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, that was unnecessarily long. What does she order? The damn store. So let's start off with how the vehicle is optioned. So my particular Santa Fe Sport is essentially fitted with every option that you could conceivably get before you step up to the 2-liter turbo model. And what that entails is perforated leather interior, heated seats in the rear, heated and cooled seats in the front, navigation, Infinity audio sound system upgrade, which includes the center channel speaker in the above the dash, which on the models that do not have Infinity audio, all they have is a storage bin. And it also has a subwoofer in the rear, so that's a total of, let's see, 2 tweeters, the center channel, that's 3 speakers, the door speakers, that's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then the subwoofer counts as speaker number 8, so I believe it's an 8-speaker system. It also includes the automatic dimming day-night HomeLink mirror, which can also control the most HomeLink compatible garage door openers. It has automatic headlights. It has the driver's side seat is both front seats are powered, but the driver's side is, I believe, an 8-way seat with memory function, so it can store settings for up to 2 people. It also features the 360-degree camera. It features the blind spot monitoring built in. Now, if you have the turbo model, it has an option for automatic braking, I believe. And so it has a radar or a LiDAR sensor in the front. So if you're about to collide with a vehicle, it will automatically apply the brakes. It's a nice feature. Trying to get the cruise control going here. Hold on. Not only that, but the rear seats have a remote latch release in the back, which I don't believe is included on the base model version of this car. The rear seats feature a built-in sunshade feature. You've got the tilt-slide panoramic sunroof, which I currently have closed, but that's a nice feature to have. Now, one little side note. If you've got the panoramic sunroof in your car, do realize that the entire roof surface is glass. There is no metal up there. From the windshield edge clear to the rear spoiler, it is all glass. So that might be something to think about if you're concerned about repair and maintenance costs. If you happen to live in an area where there's a lot of hail, or ice falling from trees in the middle of winter, that might be something to consider, because the last thing you want to do is be cruising along and the roof just shatters randomly. And as I'll explain right now, next, the sunroof does have, and this is true for any vehicle with a panoramic sunroof, but there is a possibility that they can spontaneously shatter at any time for seemingly no reason. Now, as I mentioned earlier, this car is fitted with a 2.4 liter Theta 2 motor, and as we've discussed, there are, or as I will discuss now, there are a lot of cases of these engines grenading themselves, especially in the earlier model years of this particular chassis. Now, the reason that this occurs is not necessarily due to lack of maintenance, but lack of maintenance can be a contributing factor. And what happens is the main bearings, or the rod bearings, I'm not sure which ones, have a tendency to prematurely wear out. Now, like I said, maintenance can be a contributing factor, but it is not necessarily the rule in this particular failure. Now, what Hyundai has done, and this is due to court action, Hyundai has extended the warranties for this engine to 120,000 miles, regardless of whether or not the vehicle is purchased new by the current owner or if it was purchased used. The reason I have to take a sidebar on this is because Hyundai's warranty is as follows. When you purchase a brand new Hyundai product, the de facto warranty is 10-year, 100,000 mile powertrain. That's engine, transmission, and driveline. And so if you have an all-wheel drive vehicle, that can include the transfer case and differentials as well. Now, if that, and not only that, but you've got your 5-year, 60,000 mile bumper-to-bumper warranty, which covers everything between the two bumpers. Basically, window tracks, audio system, expensive things that can go wrong in a vehicle that is well optioned, regardless of manufacturer. Now, typically the industry standard warranty is 5-year, 60,000 powertrain, 3-year, 36,000 bumper to bumper. That is pretty much what you would expect from most manufacturers. But Hyundai has built their reputation on their superb warranty. Now, I have used Hyundai's warranty services on all of my Hyundais at one point or another. And I've got to say, they do take care of the customer, at least in my case. Your case may be different. Everybody's got horror stories, and I don't have any to share. I'm sorry. Now, why this is a thing. So, if you buy a Hyundai used, non-certified, pre-owned, like you just go to Jack's Used Cars and you buy yourself a Hyundai, doesn't matter how old the car is, the 10-year, 100,000 mile warranty does not apply to you. Why? Well, that's what Hyundai does to try to sell more newer vehicles. I mean, automakers don't make money on used cars unless they're, unless the prospective owner buys parts from the manufacturer. They almost never do. So to spur new car sales, Hyundai only offers that warranty to new Hyundai owners. When you buy a Hyundai from a Hyundai dealer, and it is a certified pre-owned vehicle, the one benefit you do get is they will actually extend the factory warranty to the next owner. And they only do that on certified pre-owned Hyundais, which is why I paid a little bit extra for the certified pre-owned badge, basically, on this car. So if I were to have bought this car from Jack's Used Cars, I would not have that extended coverage. Now this comes into play because shortly, about a couple months after I bought this car, it had about 38,000 miles on it or so. It was after the, if I would have bought it from Jack's Used Car warranty coverage, it was beyond that point. And I had one of my cameras fail. The driver's side camera intermittently fail. So it would work on a cool day, but if it was a hot day and the sun was beating on the driver's side of the car while it was parked, the camera would fail. It would not engage. And after I got driving a little bit, suddenly the camera would work again. And this becomes difficult to get coverage on. Now, because I bought the car certified pre-owned, it was covered under warranty, and I knew it would be, so I wasn't too worried about it. I brought it to the dealer, and I said, my camera is malfunctioning. And I explained what was happening. I even showed them a video of it happening, and the service advisor, a gentleman who I've dealt with for 10 years on other cars I've owned, he said, I'm sorry, but I cannot fix something if I cannot duplicate the problem. And I said, well, I'm not going to leave the car here overnight so you can maybe duplicate it the next day and maybe get it fixed. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I said, I'm going to wait until it becomes a bigger problem, and then I'll bring it back and we'll get it fixed. And he said, okay, sounds like a plan. So I drove the car for a couple more months, and it happened. It was actually in July. Hot summer day. Camera wasn't working. No matter what. I drive a few miles, it still wasn't working. I'm like, great. I called up the dealer and I said, I'm bringing it in right now. And he says, come on down. I brought it in, and they said, well, Mr. Bishop, it needs to be replaced. You were right. And I said, I know I'm right. And he said, we are going to replace the camera for you. So I actually ended up having to leave the car there. I had my girlfriend pick me up, and we got it fixed. And it's been fine ever since. But had I bought the car not certified pre-owned, that kind of a repair would not have been covered, and I would have no recourse. And the cost for that repair, I believe they said it was, if it was out of warranty, would have been around $700. So, just thought I'd share that with you guys, because when you buy a car, regardless of what the nameplate is on the front of the vehicle, when you buy a car that has all these stupid options, you're gonna have problems. It's just the way it is. But everything else in this car, the heated steering wheel, the heated seats, the cooled seats, the sunroof, the shades, everything works. At 41,000 miles, everything works perfectly fine. Exactly as it should. And I emphasize this because I know people that have purchased cars from bigger nameplate or more expensive nameplates, Japanese-ier nameplates, and they've had problems with these accessories, and things don't really work as they should sometimes. I have to throw that in there. Now, as for the powertrain, is it right-sized for the vehicle? That's often an issue. This is I think it's a 4,500-pound SUV, powered by a 2.4-liter four-cylinder engine, direct injected, variable valve timing, both intake and exhaust, with a 6-speed automatic transmission. How does it perform? Well, you're never going to win a race. it doesn't, you're not going to roast the tires. You're not going to impress anybody. People don't buy these cars to impress people. If you want to impress somebody, you're going to pay $80,000 for a Mercedes-Benz logo on the front, and you're going to end up spending a fortune keeping it on the road. No, you buy a Hyundai Santa Fe Sport because you need a vehicle that is reliable and functional. And I gotta be honest, I like the way this car looks. I love this generation of Hyundai styling. I'm not too crazy about the one that came before it, and I really don't like the one that came after it. This particular generation of the Santa Fe is actually one of my favorites to look at. It has a lot of nice, crisp lines. I love the styling, interior, exterior. I just love the car. I even like the color. I'm very happy with the color choice, and it wasn't really a choice. It was more of a, this is what we got, do you like it or not? I said, I kind of like it. This vehicle came in a variety of shades of gray, white, black, red. There was an orange Santa Fe for a couple of years as well, and I gotta be honest, this is, I forget the name of this color, but it's like a charcoal. But if you look at it in the direct sunlight, it kind of has a little bit of a reddish tint to it. Not red, but like kind of like a purplish, smoky gray, something, yeah, that kind of thing going on. And I kind of like it. It's different. It's unique, and I like it. What can I say? I just like the color. Now, I didn't want a white one because I don't want a car that looks like a fleet vehicle, and I didn't want silver because I didn't want a car that looks like a rental car. You know, and that having been said, when I looked at this particular one, they had a couple of them on the lot, all 2017s, a couple 2016s, and I think they had a 2018. And most of them had paint issues. One of the things you got to know about buying a used family vehicle, essentially, is that a lot of them are used by families, and they get dinged and scratched and dented and cigarette burns in the seats. I know if it was purchased by anyone in my family, there'd be cigarette burns in the seats. Anyway, you know, you're gonna find, you know, scuffs in the door sills, and you know, you're gonna get a used family car. But they had one. It was white. It was an all-wheel drive model. It was white. And I was getting ready to sign the paperwork on it. It only had 20,000 miles on it. And while I didn't want a white one, I said, I don't really care. It had no options. It was really a stripper model. And I'm like, whatever. Price is right. I'm getting ready to sign the paperwork, and I look at the Carfax, and it came up as a used rental car. Now, I know how people drive new rental cars, and I'll be damned if I'm going to buy a used one. I take care of my cars. I'm very good about maintaining them, and I go a few steps beyond. I even undercoat them with fluid film so they don't rust. And this is a vehicle that really wasn't cared for. It's a rental. It's designed to make money, not cost money. That having been said, I said, what else do you got? And then they showed me this one. Originally, they showed me this one. They wanted me to buy this one at the get-go because it was on the lot for quite a while, because it was so expensive. One thing you've got to know is that people don't go to used car lots to buy expensive vehicles. They generally go to buy something reasonably priced. They had this one tagged at $24,900, I think it was. And I said, I'm not spending that on a used car. If I'm going to spend 25 grand on a car, I'm going to buy a brand new one. A strippy model. This one had all the options and bells and whistles that I don't freaking need. So they said, okay. They negotiated with me back and forth. They really wanted to move this car off the lot for some reason. It had a clean Carfax and a clean service history. I asked for the service history, they gave it to me. And I said, to tell you what, here's what I'm willing to pay, and if I have to pay a penny more, I'm going to walk. I kind of pulled the old, I negotiate better than that guy in Fargo, if you know what I'm talking about. You know, True Coat. Oh, you got to get the True Coat. They put that at the factory, you know. I negotiated a little bit better than that guy, and I said, I'll tell you what, this is what I'm going to pay, or I'm walking. Give me my key. And I said, give me the keys to my trade-in. Give me my keys back, because I'm done. And they said, you know what, Mr. Bishop? Well, my boss, he never does this. but he's going to give you the True Coat for $100 off. Yeah. No. He gave me the price that I was willing to pay. And I said, I'll tell you what. Here's my John Hancock, give me the keys. So I walked out of the dealer lot, or drove out, I should say, with this vehicle. I think I paid $19,500. And they were asking $24,900. Don't ever pay the sticker price. That's the sucker price. You're gonna get screwed. And you know what? I don't feel bad because they made a fortune on this. They probably paid $15,000 for this car. Okay, maybe not that little, but they definitely didn't pay a lot for it because they're a dealer. That's how they structure their business. That's how they make money. But I give it to them on the other end too. I mean, you know, they do make money off of me. I have my vehicle serviced there. They do a fairly decent job. And, you know, I've been pretty happy with the service that I've gotten in that dealership, you know. But that's just that. So look, if you're looking for a oh yes. So let's talk a little bit about how it drives and what I like and what I don't like. We've rambled on and on. I pretty much like everything about this car. I love the suspension tuning. I like this, you know, it's not sport tuned suspension by any stretch, but it's tuned just right for the vehicle's weight, for its power output, and for its intended purpose. This is not an off-road vehicle. This is not something you're going to take, you know, out in the woods. This is not something you're going to be driving to the sand pits. It is a family hauler. It is a commuter vehicle. It is a homeowner's utility vehicle. Nothing more, nothing less. So don't drive one of these, or don't buy one of these expecting it to out-handle, you know, a hatchback, because it won't. But it can sure take a corner at a pretty fair clip on the highway without any fuss. It accelerates out of its own way. You won't roast the tires, but it'll get the job done. The fuel mileage, as you can see right now, I'm averaging 21.5 miles per gallon. It's pretty fair for the size. I mean, it's a heavy, well-optioned vehicle, and it's got some weight to it. As far as braking goes, I think the braking is probably its least desirable feature. I mean, the braking on this car is, and it could be because the rotors, I think, are a little bit chintzy. But I think it could benefit from some larger brakes. It seems to shudder a little bit when you really give it the pedal there. You know, but for the most part, it's not too bad braking wise. I mean, it's a used car. It's got 40,000 miles on it, and I think the front rotors are a little bit warped. I think what happened was whoever owned this before me, they rode the brakes a lot, and I believe that they may have developed some, not warpage, but hot spots on the rotors, and that can cause shuddering under heavy or moderate to heavy braking. So there is that. Let's see. How does it handle in the snow? That's the number one question I'm going to get. How does it handle in the snow? Almost like the snow doesn't exist. I've driven this through a couple of storms so far. I'm in New England after all. And it handles admirably. I don't even think the all-wheel drive system has even had to engage on this thing. It does work, I've tested it, but it hasn't really been an issue. And I'm running stock tires. The tires that are on this are basically what it came with when it was new. Pretty close to that anyway. Nothing fancy there. Again, never took it off-road, never had to. Utility-wise, I mean, I've carried a lot of equipment in this car, lawnmowers. I bought a Troy-built chipper vac in the big packing carton it came in, and it fit in here just fine. I've carried some lumber in this. I've actually hauled the 2x4x10 in this car. You have to stuff it underneath right into the passenger side footwell and lean the seat back all the way, but you can fit a 2x4 or a 2x6x10, at least 2 or 3 of them, no problem. I've had some serious weight in this car. I've carried some landscaping supplies, paving bricks, and things like that. You can feel the weight. Oh, you can feel it all right, but it didn't really give me a problem. The most annoying thing about this car is the blind spot monitoring. As soon as you turn your directionals on, it just beeps incessantly. So if you're turning your directional on, waiting for an opening in the the line of traffic, it's just going to beep at you until you scream or turn it off. The transmission is Hyundai's basic 6-speed automatic, and I'm just going to say it. It's not their smoothest transmission for sure, but it also doesn't have any slipping or shuddering or anything. But you do feel the shifts here and there, depending on what your speed is and your throttle load. It's not I've driven better, but I don't expect it to be a problem. I have had the fluid changed. The first thing I did when I bought this car, I had the transmission fluid changed. I've had the GDI system, or the induction cleaning done. I had the brake fluid changed, and I think I didn't do the coolant because it has long life coolant from the factory, so I'm going to wait on that one. But I've done all the fluids and all the maintenance to it, and I'm going to be doing the front and the rear differential fluid. I'm having that changed, and I'm going to do the transfer case fluid changed. So I don't take maintenance lightly. I feel that a vehicle that is well maintained is one that will last a lot longer, and I stand by that. When it comes time for brakes, I'm going to be doing them myself. I never pay anybody to do my brake jobs because it is such a ripoff. You can save $200-300 by doing it yourself, and brakes are easy to do. I've never had a problem doing them. So I'm looking forward to that one. Hopefully I don't have to do it within the next year because I want to kind of save my money. But, would I buy this car again? Absolutely. Do I have any regrets? No, I don't. I really don't. I feel I got a fairly decent deal on this car. And given the fact that I don't commute like I used to, I expect this car will last a good long time. I used to drive, 28,000 miles a year. I do about half that now. So I'm pretty happy about that. I've driven 11,000. I put 11,238 miles on this car. I bought it October of 2019. It is now, we're cruising into September of 2020. So, yeah, that's not that bad. That's not bad at all. Well, folks, I hope this video has been informative. If you're looking to buy, forget what third generation Hyundai Santa Fe, you could do worse. You could do worse. I would buy this over a Honda CR-V. I would probably, if I had all the money in the world, I probably would have gone with a Toyota Highlander. But I just love Hyundai products for a lot of reasons I don't want to get into in this video. I like their products. I like where the company's headed. I feel that they're really they're overtaking Nissan. They've killed Mitsubishi, and they're becoming one of the number one automakers in the world. And I feel that is a well-deserved reputation. Their reliability has gone up so much since the 2010 Elantra that I had before. And the quality in the feel, the fit, and the finish of their vehicles is like something I've never seen before in this price bracket. And I just have to say that they're well equipped, they're an excellent value, they stand by their products. In my experience, your mileage may vary, but I have had no issues with their warranty coverage. I love their cars. And that is why I bought a Hyundai over a Toyota. That's it for now. Thank you for watching, and you guys have a great day.